That time of the year, the khakis are in the building. Steve Kornacki painting our playoff picture. What do you have for us to start the day?
Yeah, Maria, great time of year. Great to be here. Let's get right to it. Who did the most to advance their playoff position today? Let's take a look by conference. In the AFC, Cris was just talking about that Browns win. The Browns moved to 8-5. They entered this week in a four-way tie at 7-5. All three of those other teams lost this week. So what the Browns have now is at least a game up on every other team in the AFC wildcard hunt. It adds up to a 75% chance now of the Cleveland Browns making the playoffs. On the NFC side, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who did the most this week. Look, they had a 30% shot entering today. That does not do justice what they achieved, because in the final minutes of that game, they were behind. If they'd lost, they basically would have been extinct in the playoff race. Instead, that late rally, and they have a 50-50 shot now, the Bucs do. We'll talk about the NFC South a little bit later, but a 50-50 shot for the Bucs when they could have been virtually eliminated. Big swing, big day for them.
All right, Steve, what does this mean for the NFC South?
It means we got a real race, and Tampa Bay controls the tiebreaker because you got to go all the way down to common games. But controlling the tiebreaker means they control the path. But be careful, Bucs fans. Next 2 weeks, you got to go to Green Bay, and then you got to play the Jags. So some potential tripwires here next 2 weeks. Atlanta, meanwhile, huge blown opportunity, blowing that late lead. Had they won today, their odds would have been greater than 80% of winning this division. Instead, just 27%. And don't forget about the Saints. If a couple things break their way, look what's at the very end of the season for them. The Bucs and the Falcons to close it out. Those could end up being decisive games. Again, if a few things break their way.
Let's check in with Steve Kornacki, because a big blow for the Chiefs' chances at that #1 seed, Steve.
Yeah, big blow is putting it mildly. Look, the Chiefs came into today chasing the Ravens, chasing the Dolphins, but actually they had the head-to-head win over the Dolphins. They have a better conference record than the Ravens. The tiebreakers were set to work for them if they could get in position, but instead they lose the game. Baltimore wins. Now the Chiefs full 2 games behind the Ravens. If Miami does what they do best tomorrow and takes out a team with a losing record, they'll also be 2 full games behind Miami. And so just a 9% chance now the Chiefs land with the top seed. Significance, Patrick Mahomes has played in 3 Super Bowls. Besides that, 11 playoff games. All of them have been home games for him. There is a chance we see Patrick Mahomes on the road in the playoffs this year.
We're getting set for a huge one, Steve Kornacki. Talk to us about what's on the line tonight.
Yeah, a lot on the line from 2 different levels. The first, the NFC East here. Look, if the Eagles win tonight, they basically clinch the division. But if the Cowboys get the win, they move into a tie with the Eagles. And then here are the tiebreaker procedures in the division. And the key is this. You see, it's a 35% chance with a win tonight that the Cowboys win the division. And why? It's because if both teams won out, the first 3 levels of the tiebreaker would all end up tied. It would come down to conference record, and that is where the Cowboys have a problem. They've lost 3 NFC games. That bad loss to Arizona could come back to haunt them even if they win tonight. And then there is the battle for the overall #1 seed here. Now, look, if the Eagles win tonight, they're going to have a 70% chance at the #1 seed. San Fran, a 30% chance. You might look at that and say, the Niners just beat the Eagles. They'd only be a game behind. Why such a big spread? It's because look at the schedule left for the Eagles. That is the easiest schedule of any team in the league. The Eagles, with a loss tonight, they still have a 30% chance at the #1 seed. They would just need to win out, and the Niners lose one of these games, maybe, against the Ravens.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.